Have you been feeling exhausted lately? Do you feel like everything is an effort and nothing seems to excite you anymore? In fact, maybe the only thing that really gets your blood pumping these days is that new season of your favorite show on Netflix. If this sounds familiar, there's a chance that you're experiencing burnout. Burnout is a condition that affects around 52% of workers to some degree. That's a big percentage of the population. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most common symptoms of burnout so that you can start looking out for them as you go about your day. We'll also be talking about some of the things you can do to alleviate some of your burnout symptoms and avoid burnout altogether. Welcome back to Coach Stack, your secret weapon for improving yourself through business, investing, and personal growth. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on our next videos. All right, let's get into it. So, what is burnout? You may be thinking to yourself, sweet Jesus, not another article about the definition of something I already know. Don't worry, we're going to get into some nitty-gritty stuff further into the video. For now, let's start with a quick summary of burnout. For those who haven't experienced it yet, burnout is a form of extreme chronic stress that comes from being overburdened and unheard at work or school. You can think of stress kind of like your body's emergency failsafe. If you work incredibly hard on something, your body will eventually use stress as an incentive to slow down and take a break. You'll start to feel tired, brain fog will set in. You'll have trouble concentrating on what you're doing. If you stop when you notice these symptoms, maybe go for a walk or get a good night's sleep, you'll be fine. The symptoms will go away and you'll be back at work in no time. If you don't stop when you notice these symptoms, eventually your brain will get so used to asking for breaks that stress becomes a constant feature of your mental state. That's what burnout is, a near constant state of stress. I say near constant, but for many people who suffer from burnout, constant would be a better description. In many cases, burnout symptoms are present at all times, regardless of whether a person is actively working on something that they find stressful. On top of this, going for a walk or getting a good night's sleep isn't enough anymore. If stress reaches the burnout stage, you very well might wake up in the morning with the same brain fog you went to bed with. Some people can bounce back from periods of burnout relatively quickly, within a few days even. These people are the minority though. Most people find that their body doesn't come back from burnout as easily and may need up to 4 weeks for full recovery. That's a long time. In an ideal world, we'd all have the therapists and life coaches to help us work to manage our stress before it ever reaches the burnout stage. Unfortunately, most people don't. That means we need to find effective ways of dealing with stress on our own. Now that we have some basics about what burnout is and what it isn't, let's get into the good stuff. What are the most common signs of burnout? The following list is in no particular order. Also, it may be hard for you to relate to some of the items if your level of burnout hasn't reached that stage just yet. These are just some of the most common burnout symptoms and are definitely ones you should be watching out for. 1. Exhaustion. You wake up feeling exhausted, even after 8 hours sleep. Throughout the day, you console yourself by saying you'll wake up feeling rested tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes, it's the same story. One possible cause of this exhaustion is burnout. When you're feeling burnt out, your body is in fight or flight mode. It doesn't know how to cope with the stress it's feeling, and so it's constantly on high alert, even when you're asleep. Trying to sleep while burnt out is no different from trying to sleep in a forest that's known for bear attacks, at least from a physiological perspective. Your body feels the need to keep itself in shallow sleep in case it needs to wake up quickly. 2. Irritability. When someone cuts you off in traffic on your commute home, what's your reaction? Is it, oh well, I guess they're in a rush? Or do you descend into a fit of rage? Irritability is a key indicator of burnout, especially if it's uncharacteristic for you. While it's normal to feel a little irritable from time to time, if you feel anything but relaxed and calm after being stuck at a red light, something might be wrong. 3. Brain fog or memory loss. Brain fog is a nice way to describe the cloudy, clumsy feeling that sometimes stops your brain from functioning at its full capacity. If you've ever been woken up suddenly from a nap, you'll know the feeling. Burnout and brain fog go hand in hand. Your brain just doesn't have the resources to devote to high performance, and your ability to process information suffers. This effect may be the result of how stress and burnout interacts with the frontal lobe. On the off chance you're not convinced that this is a big problem, studies on brain fog have found that it can reduce your ability to process written information by upwards of 300%. 4. Decreased productivity. No matter how hard you try, it feels like you can't get anything done. Your day is filled with distractions, you can't focus on your work, and before you know it, hours have gone by without checking anything significant off of your to-do list. You don't need to be an expert in productivity to recognize burnout symptoms when they happen. If you suddenly find yourself struggling to concentrate on your work, you may be experiencing at least a small degree of burnout. 5. Lack of motivation. You feel like you have no reason to do anything anymore, no purpose. You're not excited about anything, and the thought of looking over another spreadsheet makes you want to scream. If this sounds similar to the first point on our list, exhaustion, that's because it is. This symptom also might sound similar to depression. Burnout is sometimes described as a form of job-specific depression because of this symptom alone. When your level of stress has reached the burnout stage, it's likely you won't have the energy for things you once enjoyed in your free time. Without those moments of enjoyment and stress relief, your burnout worsens. It's a vicious cycle that can be hard to escape. Now that we've covered a summary of burnout's most common symptoms, what can you do to avoid this terrible mental state? You might not be able to prevent yourself from getting there, but if you're experiencing several of these symptoms, there is hope. There are a few incredibly effective ways that you can manage your burnout symptoms, speed up the recovery process, and prevent burnout from setting in the first place. 1. Get out into nature. It's a proven fact that spending time in nature can help reduce stress and anxiety almost immediately. Studies show that 20 minutes spent in green, natural spaces is enough to significantly reduce the concentration of stress-inducing hormones in our bloodstreams. 2. Engage in mindfulness exercises. If sitting in nature doesn't sound like the right thing for you, try meditating. It helps you become more aware of your thoughts and helps you exert more control over them. Meditation has been shown to lower blood pressure levels and exponentially decrease the time needed to recover from burnout. 3. Exercise frequently. It's important to stay active during burnout, but as we all know, doing too much can become an issue in itself. Getting 30 minutes of exercise a day helps by decreasing blood pressure and increases the amount of energy your body can expend. 4. Get enough sleep. This is an obvious one. It's impossible to feel good when you're exhausted. The average person needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night in order to maintain their energy levels, so make sure you follow this golden rule. It might be tough at first, but over time the results will help keep burnout feelings far away from where they should be, in the past. That's all for today's video on the signs of burnout. Make sure you look out for them. If you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any Coach Stack content in the future. Thanks for watching and see you next time.